Welcome again to Ifa Ela Ministry. Greetings and greetings and greetings of honor to every family Ela out there. We honor you and we love you. But no matter how much we love you, the love you have for yourself is the greatest love. I'm happy to be here with you today, as always. I'll give all honor to life. More than Ifa Ela for bringing us together today. The purpose of Ifa Ela Ministry is for us as a community to bring forth any life supposed problems that does not help people to grow personally and collectively. So Ifa Ela Ministry aim is to help us to be able to bring this problem forth and for us to be able to work together to remove it from our society. Because God did not make problems, it's man that made problems. Which means it is man that has been given the duty to remove the problem. Because God is beautiful in every way. Alafia. Last week we talked about be the judge of your own life. Judge the juries or jurors, we say. What we're trying to say in that tense is that we all need to learn how to be responsible to what we put to the universe. So we can only achieve that when we stop and check ourselves. I would say we shouldn't be so busy to connect with the world, demons or evil or things like this, because do not subscribe to those words, because man wrote those words, so you don't have to subscribe to them. Just call all these characteristics that is not helping you to move forward. Give them names, call them teachers, and name them one by one. But what is mostly important is remember to count your blessings. And remember also not to be less, because the reality is you are more than. And you can only be more than when you know who you are and you stay in that light and you're productive in that light. No productivity is small. We all have to start from the basic step, and that will lead to our next step and our next step. So begin to count, all the beautiful things that is in your life, because you have plenty of them. Don't let people who make themselves ready to judge you do that for yourself, because nobody knows you better than yourself. And also, your dream is your dream. Don't subscribe to nightmare, that. No, man wrote that. Connect with your dream from the aspect of a beautiful God that is in you, that creates you, that you are. So, be the driver, be the judge and the jury of your dream. God instructed me on what I need to talk about today. It is somewhat brief, but I have to follow my heart, because that's where that is where the writings of God is, your heart. It's not a case of it's not a case of something better than the next person, but you are that writings of God that is written in your heart. So and it's a bit more than having it's not a case of you're the judge and the jury of your life, like you have the gavel, like that's how you judge your life. No, it's not by strength. You take instruction from your heart. You have to be somebody that's very in tune with meditating, because that's when your heart speaks in silence. Your heart will speak louder to you in silence. So it's a characteristic of who you are before the system and who you're going to be after the system. Be among those people who listen to their heart, because that's where the writings of God is at. When you follow your heart, you will be able to speak forth reality of life, not something that somebody has made up. What we're going to be talking about this week is, what does sex personally means to me in regards to 5 and 6. Yes, 5 and 6 is just a number, but there's more to it than that. For people who has taken time out to learn basic knowledge about life, other than what we've been told, we'll kind of be able to relate to what I meant by 5 and 6. 5 and 6, when you look at it from principle of life, i.e. cosmic law, 5 and 6 is sex and love. Sex is act of Isheshe. Isheshe is the world that, or if you like, language that Ifa Ela, if you want to call it religion, Ifa Ela religion people say. They say Isheshe. Isheshe is another way of saying Ifa Ela. It's people that practices Ifa Ela, that you will hear them speak forth Isheshe. But on that note as well, people who seek knowledge outside what we're told, even if they don't practice Ifa Ela religion, they will have heard Isheshe. There's no way you will know about Ifa or Ifa Ela and you will not know what Isheshe means. So 5 and 6 is what I would call personally act of Isheshe. And when you look at sex and love and 5 and 6 from that aspect of life, what I'm saying in a way is sex, love, 5 and 6, which means 5 and 6 is cosmic law. It is a principle of life. Sex is law. Sex is law that must not be played with by man or woman. Because when we say something is a universal law, something is a cosmic law, something is a principle of life, what we're saying in essence is what God has written. What God has written is different from what man wrote or writes. What God has written means is not something that we should play with. It's not something that we should approach or connect with anyhow. Because if we do, there is consequences. And ordinarily, we all know how we relate to sex generally. And as it stands, we can all do better with how we relate to sex. Because 5 and 6, when we look at it ordinarily, we just say, oh, it's just a number. But it actually represents clarity of God that is beyond knowledge of man. Why do I say that? If we know something is beyond knowledge of man, why do we treat it anyhow? We don't treat sex anyhow, do we not? People use it as a tool for business. People use it as a tool to control somebody else. People use it as a tool, as some sort of ego trip. Anyhow we look at it, we are not connecting with sex and love, i.e. 5 and 6, the way God has instructed us to do so. Which means it is highly important that we begin to look at that aspect of our lives from every angle and the center, not just for what we can get from it, or what that can do for us when we take advantage of it. I'm just trying to say that's part of the one reason. There's many reasons why we are hurting ourselves, because we can't hurt the planet. So what we're doing in essence is hurting ourselves. So not treating sex from that angle of circle of life or principle of life or cosmic law is one of the reasons why things are not going very well in the world. This is the reason why people are suffering. This is the reason why we're not treating each other with enough respect. This is the reason why we find it convenient to behave anyhow. Because if you start approaching 5 and 6 from angle of cosmic law, you begin to treat yourself better personally. You begin to treat yourself better personally, and that will help you and enable you to treat the next person and the next person and the next person better. It starts from number 1. So what I'm trying to say in this lesson is, for me personally, 5 and 6, meaning love and sex, is beyond man's knowledge. There's more to that than just number. And I say this because it's what heaven and earth says, not because I'm smarter than anybody else or because I know something that somebody else don't know. God communicates with each one of us differently. But the key things about God is one. And it's that space that God has given you that you must honor. And as I honor my space, meaning how God communicates with you, honor it. How God communicates with me, I honor it. We honor each other together with you. There's a purpose why you have your gift and I have mine. But it's that honor that keeps us in alignment together. Same way as the stars are aligned. Same way as the birds flies and they honor one another. They don't take each other's hemisphere or position or purpose. Because this sort of act is impossible, but human beings force themselves to do these sort of practices. But the consequences comes back to the person who are doing this, not with somebody who just busy themselves loving God. What I'm trying to say in essence is that you don't need somebody else's gift for you to become an overflowing person that God made you. Of course, every one of us needs to know how. And that is the purpose that God has established Ifa Ela Ministry. Let's look at this scenario, for example. Man may like to think to themselves that God hates them or that God owes them something. This, I would say, is definitely not a reasonable way to think of God. If God hates man, look at so many gifts that God has given us that we cannot even finish it if we live 1,000 years in the world before we ascend. I'll mention just one of them. Think about the gift of love making. And do we pay God for that? Now, consider what I've said earlier. Is that how we're going to pay God for the gift of love making? We need to do better and approach 5 and 6 better. It is personal. Your 5 and 6 is yours. My 5 and 6 is mine. It is personal. It's not an area that, anyone should say, I must take over. It's not an area. In any area of a person's life, another person must not even think or dream to take over it. What about the purpose that God has put that person in the planet to do with that gift? If my gift is not heard, it's taking away from the planet. It's not adding to the planet. The same way, if your gift is not heard, that's taking away from the planet. So we must busy ourselves to help each other for our gift to be heard. when we're given the opportunity. It's not the other way around. God does not hate man. It's man that behave in a way as if they don't know God. And those who deem themselves they know God, they mislead people. A man does not owe another man sex. Unless we are, a man and a woman have decided to honor cosmic law, which is circle of life, 5 and 6. That is a gift of lovemaking that one should hold very dear and cherish and honor and protect by all means without apology. The only thing a man owes another man is honor. And that is another strong cosmic law. Honor. When we get the principle of honor, principle of life, when you have that, it's not going to be difficult for you to not want to take what don't belong to you from somebody else. This prompts me to ask myself a question. What are men club of this world and women club of this world are doing with the number 5 and 6, meaning sex and love? Do we not realize that Ifa Ela gave men and women of this world cooking energy, which is fire? And that type of fire burns out. The reason why Ifa Ela gave men cooking fire, that type of love, if you like, that burns out, is because men are not sincere and women are fraudulent. And this is the reason why Ifa Ela is here, to teach us, as universe, heaven and earth is teaching us as well, how we can do the work to become a better person, to be able to connect with one another with love that is real. Now, when we say 5 and 6, sex and love is cosmic law, is the principle of life, is a circle of life, we're saying is the love that has the capability to live forever, no matter what. I don't see why that cannot become our culture. I don't see why that cannot become our tradition. If it wasn't our culture or our tradition, as it is written, why then am I talking about it? Think about that. It is because we have entered genuinely into a new day that we've all been waiting for. And it's a sweet, joyful song. We must be ready to connect with that. Because if you don't, then you will not have God to blame. None of us have any reason to ever blame God. Because God is always saying to us, I'm here. This is my way. Now, if you don't walk that way and you decide to walk another way, this is God's time. This is God's time. You walk another way, it is your responsibility. Those who God has put in position to relate to everyone God's way will not take responsibility anymore. And that's the reason Ifa Ela Ministry is here. You can take responsibility for yourself. Be the judge and jury of your life. You don't need somebody else's gift to be an overflowing person. Love, real love, is the one star that keeps the world moving round and round and straight path. There's no way we can be going round and round without moving straight path. It's now time to have clarity that straight path is that which will take us to the promised land. Without love, the one circle of life which is the moon, will fold in. Now, those who stand with the moon faithfully, meaning standing in your light 24/7, without apology, you stand in your light, push or shove, no apology, are the ones that will have every reason to not be afraid, because they don't know how to hurt another person. If I was to say, oh, that person is not a person that is full of fear or afraid, I'm not saying that person has got power, because how I relate to power is totally different. What I'm saying is that person don't have it in their heart, don't know they know how to hurt another person. When somebody do not hurt you, why are you in the business of trying to hurt that person? For me, the best thing I've ever done when I get peace at someone is openly, or when I'm by myself, if somebody set out to hurt me, heaven and earth, help that person to hurt themselves. A person who is not afraid is not, oh, a very strong person, oh, he's got power. That's a person who don't have in their heart to make it their business, to be taking something that don't belong to them, to be hurting somebody. Now, as it is Ifa Ela's tradition to honor ancestors and generations that we are using this minute to always and forever honor our ancestors and generations. Always. Energy of life that is beyond man's knowledge. Protect us forever. We honor you, all ancestors. We celebrate you, all ancestors and all generations that we are, that we are going to be. Instruction of the week. I'm going to have to speak Yoruba because there's some area of it that I don't think I can explain properly in English. It's like English don't respect to English language. Other to English language words. It's just sometimes when you're talking about Ifa Ela, there's no English does not particularly explain it properly. And that's why I'm going to speak in Yoruba, and I will do my best to explain it in English as well, the best that I can do. So this is the instruction of the week, and this is how heaven and earth has instructed me to bring it forth. So it's not about me really. Ọmọ Oòduà all over the world. Ìṣẹ̀ṣe dọwọ́ yín o, ìṣẹ̀ṣe làgbà. Torí pé Ọlọ́run ó fi yé mi pé ọ̀nà méjì ni gbogbo ẹ̀yà ayé pín sí, Oòduà àti Ọbàtálá. Oòduà túmọ̀ sí pé ọmọ Oòduà ló ń bá Ọbàtálá jiyàn. Ọbàtálá gangan òun náà ni ẹni tí tó ń jẹ́ kílé ayé kó máa tòrò, kó máa dùn jóyin lọ. Kódà gan tá a bá wo ìwà Ọbàtálá gẹ́gẹ́ bí wọ́n ṣe ṣe àlàyé rẹ̀ fún wa, ẹ rí pé ó bá ti Jésù mu. So kó tó máa sọ Jésù ni Ọbàtálá ti wà. Ṣé Ọbàtálá lè pè ní òrìṣà ńlá, aláṣọ funfun ní kíni. Bàbá mọ̀rẹ́ ọmọ. I was calling my ancestors that are very powerful. Àsìkò ti tó tá a gbọ́dọ̀ tún ìṣẹ̀ṣe ṣe. àsìkò ìgbà ẹ̀là tá à ń pè ní ìgbàlà ti wọlé. To achieve real ìṣẹ̀ṣe làgbà, a gbọ́dọ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní ṣe àtúnṣe náà tí mo ti ń sọ láti ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ Ifa Ela Ministry. Òun náà ni lédè òyìnbó tó mo lè sọ ni ká bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní, we have to start to rewind, to remember who we are as the pace setter people, African people. We are the pace setter of God's way. So excuse me if I say that when it goes wrong, or if it goes wrong, we need to look at ourselves. Because before you can have a tree, there must be a root. Africa is the beginning of life, is the root of life. And we have to renew the way we do ìṣẹ̀ṣe, the way we represent Ifa Ela. If you want to call it religion, that's okay. But to me, Ifa Ela is a way of life. It's bigger than religion. But for those who see it as religion, we have to begin to rewind, to remember our ways, the real way of God, people, pace setter of God's way that we are. So that we are able to, when you rewind, you are able to see things clearly, you are able to review things. We have to begin to review things because things are not working in favor of Africa. It is because we have not been doing our duty properly according to how God has laid it down. You teach it to other people, you can call it you teach it to other people, and they took it away, renew it, it becomes something else, a corrupted version. They bring it to you, you're living your life by it. It is killing us in every way you can think of, Asia-wise, meaning commerce, economic, banking, market. You're doing things man's way. You cannot do things man's way. Odua people, you cannot continue to do things man's way. We have to do it Obatala way, clarity way. And that's what will happen when we're able to rewind and we're able to review, then we renew stuff. So when we renew stuff, we are able to stay in reformation. We become reformed people. If there's anybody who should reform, it is Africa people, the root of the tree. This tree that I'm talking about cannot be uprooted because man don't know it. It's beyond man's knowledge. Africa, black people, you are pace setter. I speak with constructive evidence. I am not speaking by myself. I only speak it forth the way heaven and earth has instructed me to. And I can assure you it is not easy. But heaven and earth makes it easy because if it's up to man, I knew I won't be able to sit here and be talking about this. Lati, now to reform and stay reformed, we have to be productive. And there are steps to take that God has put there for us to begin to do this renewal gradually. Now, the first step is iṣẹ́ àkọ́kọ́ tá a gbọ́dọ̀, iṣẹ́ àkọ́kọ́ tí Ọlọ́run fún wa láti ṣe. The first step, the first work to do is And I'm speaking to the men's club of this world, and I'm speaking to the women clubs of this world. The first step we must do, I'm directing this to men. I know you'll be saying, who is this child talking to us like this? See beyond me being a child. And also reason with me that no one sit in front of the world and speak like this. So there has to be something, no matter how small. And that's something, I'll tell you now, it belongs to God. Everlasting God that created the sun, the moon, the earth, and everything. Mine is only to teach us with that something. And I know it's a very strong something to say, but because God has instructed me to say it, that's the only reason I'm saying it. Emma be eboma torí pé orí ní gbé ni òòṣà kọ́. Ó pọ̀ jù báyẹn lọ, kékeré náà ni mo lè sọ. What I don't know, I will not speak about it. I only speak it as I know it. Yesterday, I will not say this because I didn't know it. I'm telling you to not do something you've been doing, I don't know, maybe for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So I don't need to be told. I know it's strange. But when God speaks, we all know it's for our own benefit. Not temporarily, but permanent benefit. Ema gbe eboma. Orini gbeni oshako. This we will find it's not going to be adding value to us. You don't have to listen to me. You yourself will see it, because when it stops adding value to us, you will stop doing it anyway. And mine is just to let you know what I'm saying is real, and we can start the process gradually. Something that you've been doing for thousands of years, and it's not, and it's helping your children to be killed, and it's helping your economy to not grow. It means you're not doing things that pleases God then, innit? You are pleasing men. You are pleasing men. You're not pleasing God with it. Ọ̀nà tí wọ́n lè gbà fi ṣọ̀kan pẹ̀lú Ọlọ́run, the only way one can connect with God in oneness of the planets is to honor God from your heart and refrain from things that you know is wrong. What's difficult in refraining from things that is wrong? What is difficult about that? And then you think you do wrong, and then that will make it better. God is not like man. Oh. Yeah, I know we've understand some concepts of God which we are using to our advantage as much as we could. But because the renewal is setting and we know it's going to happen, there's no need for us saying when it happens, we know how to turn it around, how to corrupt it, how to manipulate. No, let's not do that anymore. This is not just a renewal time and then we can mess it up how we like, do whatever we like with it. This is God time. A renewal means God time. How can we mess up God time? How is it possible? God has given us enough ample time. So what that is saying to us is, when we keep saying we've entered into God time now, and it's not God time that we can tweak or we can turn around or change it as we like or things like this, is because the time that men rule the world has completed. That is the meaning of God time. Can we not see it? The time that men and women rule the world is completed, has done its time. That's why I say to us, we have entered into God time now. Èkejì, meaning the second point, step that we must take, and that's directing it to the women's club of this world. Stop beating children. The spiritual aspect of beating children is enormous. I know sometimes it may be difficult to not beat children because you say that children don't listen quick unless you beat them or tap them or use or things like or discipline them. I've been there as well, so I know, I've experienced it too. I know what I'm talking about. It's part of that renewal time. We have to find means to stop beating children. It's just a case of making a decision. And we'll begin to find out that genuinely there's lots of ways that we can discipline children without beating their tiny body to a pulp. Children are sometimes being beaten and they die in the process, even in the hands of their parents. Parents don't mean to kill that child. It's just trying to discipline the child. And you know what children meant to God? They are the closest being to God. You cannot blame anything on children. The adults have to take responsibility. Now, when you are beating the one thing that God loves most, imagine the repercussion of what that is doing to us, hurting us as people. Because it's not that God is going to do something new. Everything God already done. It's our own duty to connect with that now. And part of it is to not be beating children. Never mind if religion promotes that. Stop beating children. That way, it's beneficial to you, because the first thing is that will help you to become a minister of patience. You'll become more of a patient, because to say to yourself, I'm not going to be beating children or my children, even when they misbehave. I'll find a new way to discipline that child. And you'll find there is a lot of ways that you can discipline a child, and it will be productive for yourself and for the child. And when you're able to do this, you become a minister of patience. And you and myself know that patience is one of the greatest gifts that God can give to a man, meaning a person. When you become a minister of patience, naturally, you become a better homemaker. Naturally, your husband will stop beating you. Your husband will stop beating your children. Woman is our responsibility. Never mind what anybody else tell you or make you to think about yourself. You have to set the tone. It is that gift, it's personal, that gift that God has given to women. Set the tone in your family. In everything you do, set the tone. It helps everything to work better. I find myself in a situation even way before I know my relationship with God. One time in my life, I remember it today, and I talked about it prior to this video recording. I find that one time in my life, I set the tone, and that makes a difference. Maybe with time, if it's God will, I'll talk about that. It's very important for women to set the tone. That's part of the reason why you are homemaker, not just or the manager of the house, not just in the kitchen, but in every area of your life. set the tone. Personally, set the tone. Socially, in your life, set the tone. It helps. It's a gift that God is giving you. Now, begin to set that tone in your family. Tell your husband and everyone around you, don't beat my children. Don't beat my child. We must individually and collectively find a way to discipline our children in a better, productive way. God don't like it, and that's one of the reasons we're suffering as people. And that is the second thing that we need to do as people, so that we too can enjoy the joy of God in our lives, as every community is enjoying. God loves Black people. God loves Africa beyond anyone's imagination. Genuinely, it's just we're not taking our duty seriously as the pace setter of God's way. And just my opinion, I feel that Odua people needs to do better as to how they relate to Ifa Ela. Because Obatala people refer to Ifa in more of a peaceful way, personally and collectively. Omodua need to begin to refer to Ifa Ela as more than just a religion that we can treat anyhow as man pleases. No. Ifa Ela is a way of life that honors the planet and everything in it. We must know beyond reasonable doubt that we must treat Ifa Ela with honor as well. That is the first meaning of duality. I honor you, you honor me. What I don't give you, don't take from me, because I won't give it anyway. I keep all my Alafia to myself. Tomorrow is with the Lord. Today is my day. Today is my day. I keep all my Alafia to myself. I belong to I am. I belong to I am, belong to me. I keep all my Alafia to myself. We give honor to life in every way. We have clarity that Morimi, Ifa Ela will keep us beyond the next week.